Information is always at your fingertips. We can access things with the speed of light and give instantaneous responses in email. These are all cultural expectations for many students, parents, and staff. Even though we have this technology and the ability to deliver information rapidly, some students and teachers are not getting equal access to information because we are not being thoughtful about how we format it.
As teachers, we have the opportunity to be proactive and build content for students from the beginning with accessibility in mind. You might think this doesn't apply to the average teacher because you might be thinking specifically about physical disabilities that are easy to see. But since 70% of disabilities are invisible, it is highly likely you do have a student or parent right now who will benefit from accessible content. With a few easy clicks, you can make sure that all students have the ability to access quality content efficiently and independently.
There are lots of technologies and resources available to help teachers make learning environments more inclusive and accessible. Here's how one teacher described how Skype benefited sign language users in her classroom.
It allows us to communicate directly through the use of British Sign Language, but also allows students to pick up and us to read the body language in a conversation and other social cues that are just as important when developing communication skills.
Another teacher wrote this about a student who uses Office Lens and OneNote.
She is now using Office Lens and OneNote to enable her access the work from all subjects at school. Rather than teachers having to read work to her, she is now becoming independent by scanning the handouts herself in Office Lens and then using the learning tools to read for her.
These are just two brief examples of how empowering it can be for students when teachers utilize inclusively designed tools in their classrooms. Occasionally, students do need to ask teachers or staff for materials to be adjusted to a format that works for them. For example, maybe they request closed captions be added to a video being seen in class. It seems like an easy fix to do after the fact. However, now that student must spend extra time watching that video again. This can add to the fatigue these students already deal with in their everyday lives. Students do not like to feel different from their peers and might prefer to go without rather than stand out.
We can eliminate all of these issues by creating content that is accessible from the beginning. It will even save time later. Marlee Matlin said it best when she said, "No one should ever have to ask for access. It should just be there." It is imperative that teachers recognize how they can avoid blocking some students from accessing materials and create a more inclusive environment for everyone. Teachers are the best recyclers. We reuse stuff from class to class if it fits the learning need. This doesn't always mean our materials are in a format that works for everyone.
What if a student with a hearing, visual, or cognitive disability walked into your class tomorrow? Are there things you'd need to adjust in your current lessons? How could you accommodate that student's needs?
There are a few easy tools and techniques teachers can use while they're developing lessons and content for students that take very little extra time and will become as habitual as running spell check. In this video series, we will show you some of the best tips for making sure all documents and materials can be accessible for everyone.